Good morning. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not in my usual space, and there's a reason for that. Sorry about the extra glare. I guess I could have turned off the overhead light, but then you wouldn't have been able to see anything anyways. So where are we? We are here saying good morning to Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. Oh, so we're going to talk about hooping. Hooping, hooping, and more hooping. Hooping it up. And we're going to focus on the flat machine. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Cindy says everything's okay. We're going to talk about flat machine hooping. The nice thing about flat machine hooping is it works with multi-needle hooping, where some things that you hoop for a multi-needle will not work as well on a flat. So yeah, we're going to talk about good morning, Facebook user. I could guess and say Woody. Good morning. And then we have Gail from Kingsbury Crafts. Good morning. Oh, so yeah, today's going to be all about hooping. And this came up because later today I'm doing a live demo for Hoopin' and Hollering. Oh, Cindy, I love it. Oh, I'll have to remember that for next time. I'm doing a live demo for Applique Getaway's virtual classes, and I'm doing that later today. And we're going to talk about hooping there also. So let me assure you, if you tune in there, you're going to see different tips and tricks than what you're seeing here, than what you'll be seeing in my class. You know, there are 100 different ways to hoop 100 different things. So we're just going to touch on a few of those today. Hooping. What is this? I have my... Oh, Cindy, you're so sweet. Cindy has her alarm set for 1 o'clock. And I do believe you're right, Cindy, because it's the correct time for me too. The Applique Getaway demo that I'm going to be doing later today is at 1 o'clock Central Time, which is 2 o'clock Eastern, and 11 o'clock on the West Coast. Did I get that right? Okay. So hooping. When you have odd stuff to hoop, it doesn't fit in the hoop. For example, I have all my examples laying around. This is a webbing. I can, oh wait, I forgot. Hang on. Yeah, I know. Look. This is why I'm in a different space today. Look what I did. Yay! I set up an overhead. I know. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to take the stabilizer out of here, and I'm going to open up the hoop. I'm going to loosen it up. I know. Gail, isn't it sweet? Um, I know. So it was a bit tricky. I tried to do this all with one computer, but it didn't work. So I'm sitting here with two computers and three cameras. Only two of the cameras are in use. So if you try to take this webbing and you get it in your hoop, and you know some hoops can do that. So you get the webbing in your hoop and you tighten your hoop up and you stitch on your webbing. Okay, so here's the conundrum. You need to make 20 of these bands, and they all need to be centered, and they all need to start here and end here. But what if you hoop it crooked? How do you know you're getting it? Now, yes, there are machines out there that can position and rotate to make it straight again, but I don't have that system. So what do? Well, I set up my machine for the first hooping, making this as straight across as possible. And then I use my handy dandy masking tape. Now I could put a line on the stabilizer, but that's not going to. Cindy says I should buy a fancy machine to fix that for me. Yeah, not happening, Cindy. Not when I can do this at a low cost, easy to do, fix it. So here, this is what I do. I take the masking tape. Yes, I could put a line on the stabilizer, but that's not going to help me for the second one or the third one or the fourth one. But the masking tape will. Here. That is my bottom position line. That is my bottom position line. Take that masking tape again. So this cost me all of not even a penny. And I'm going to fold this tape over so, the ends don't come undone. I'm going to put my hoop back together. Oops, got to open it up a little bit. Yep. So look, it's all crooked there, but it's not tight yet. Hey, Frank. Good to see you. So the hoop's not tight yet, which means that I can shift the project in the hoop, getting it in the correct position before I tighten it up. Ta-da! And I can repeat that over and over and over as many times as I need, because I know where my center is for each and every hooping. Ta-da! That's one. What do you think? Now, it's not just webbing. You can do this. You can do this hooping technique for other things that you're going to repeat, that you want things that you're going to repeat that you want to make sure are hoop the same at every stitch out. Yeah. I'll put my webbing away. Yep. What else have we got here? Oh, this one is always a favorite. Now, to be honest, this one was specifically requested for the AG demo. And it is part of the class. I'm sorry, I'm setting up the hoop again. It is part of the class. But it is something that people ask for all the time. Hooped stabilizer, cutaway stabilizer. People ask all the time, how do I hoop a sock? Well, you know, there are little tools out there and little gadgets out there that you can set up your sock in to hoop. But I don't use them. I don't use them because they cost money. And yes, I have said in the past that I am a gadget gal. I like to buy gadgets to make things work. And maybe you are too. But sometimes I need something right away, so I don't have time to buy the gadget. And then again, maybe it's a silly gadget and I don't see any need for it. Taking a sip of coffee, be right back. So, how do we hoop a sock? Well, the first thing you need to know about socks is they have two sides when laid flat. One side goes on the right foot so that the ankle shows outward. The other one, Frank, is that you again? Good morning. The other one is for the left foot, so it's ankle, and you don't want to put whatever you're putting on the sock on the same side, because that would give you two left socks or two right socks. So how do you do that? Handy dandy straight pins. Yep, straight pins. I like these little daisy topped ones. Well, anyways, I like anything that's got a little grip to it. So, Cindy says Frank just came to the brighter side of YouTube. So, all right. So I'm going to mark my sock as to where I want the design. And I want it centered. So I'm actually going to fold my sock to find that center and mark it. All right. So there is the center position of my sock. Frank, you're amazing. Thank you. He says he's putting time on my YouTube to keep my watch hours up. Okay, so I know I'm going to stitch here, and I know that this is the right sock position. But now, how do I get it on the hoop? Right? I want to stitch here, but I don't want to stitch here. So what do? Well, I'm going to turn the sock inside out. And I'm going to put my stitch area down on the stabilizer. Okay. So here we are. There's the stitch area that I want to do. But we still have an issue here. We still have this layer. So what do? Well, more straight pins to the rescue. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pin as far into the edges as possible. I know this is a little tricky trying to do flat. So let me just raise this up a little bit. Move my pins because they're in the way. Start on the other side because I'm right-handed. We want to pin the far edge of the sock to the stabilizer. Give it a little stretch because you know socks have stretch. Not a lot of stretch, just a little stretch. Pin the other side to the stabilizer. Okay, so now it's on our stabilizer. It's not going to fall off, but this part is still there. What do we do with it? Well, socks have stretch. Pull it out of the way. Pull it out of the way and pin it. Ta-da! This whole area is now exposed. If I need more, you know, I can pin more. But this whole area is now exposed. And that didn't cost me, but I don't know, reusable straight pins. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And you know, this technique works for mittens and some gloves, stretchy gloves, because you know, you're not going to be able to, well, I suppose you could pull all the fingers out, you know, when you reverse it, but you can leave the fingers tucked in. Anything that needs to be turned around. I mean, it also works for beanies. You're right, Cindy. Cindy is saying here, pins. Oh no, I was trained no pins. Yes, you're right. As a general rule, no pins should go into your embroidery machine. Because if your needle hits a pin, it's going to break that needle, which, you know, can also damage your machine. So you need to put your pins in a position that is going to be as far away from your needle and your workspace as possible. And when you have to do a specialized hooping like this, you really should stay with the project while it's on the machine so that you can rescue your machine if it becomes necessary. So again, turn the sock inside out, turn the mitten inside out so that your stitch area is facing up and you can secure it to the stabilizer. Frank says, oh, I can see me getting blood all over that sock. Me and pins don't get on. Okay. Frank, you could use sticky stabilizer, but then you're going to have to sit and physically hold that cuff area out from under. And that's a risk to your fingers within the machine. And Cindy, yes, hadn't gotten there yet. Trace. Always trace. Trace. You know what the trace is, everybody. You make the machine go around the stitch area so that you can make sure that all of your pins are out of place, are out of the way. What about a smaller hoop? Cindy wants to know about using a smaller hoop. You can use a smaller hoop. I know that some of the machines come with a little 2-inch round hoop, but you still have to hold that cuff out of the way, which is why, and my machines don't have a smaller hoop. I have a 4x4 hoop. I have this 4.5. Oh, I'm sorry, 5x5 hoop. And I have this big, massive hoop. You know, these again are just alternative ways of hooping to get your job done without spending hundreds of dollars on additional work, on additional equipment. The pinning also works if you're doing beanies. And the thing about doing a beanie is it's going to have the extra responsibility of, especially if you're going to repeat, the extra responsibility of um, being in the same position every time. So again, just like with the sock, I want to mark the top side of the beanie. And I want to fold that cuff down, which is already naturally inside out because it's a cuff. I'll put my pins on the far side. I'll take this one and pull it back. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Remember, we set the tape up here on the guideline. I'm going to use that as a guideline for hooping my beanies. If I'm doing 16 beanies in a flat hoop like this, I'm going to want to make sure I don't have to fuss with the machine as I'm repeating. So I use something on the hoop, in this case, masking tape, as my guide to line up that beanie edge to set it in the same place on every beanie. And good morning, Woody. Been following your page. Love those cards. Woody's got new business cards. He and his lady, they opened up their business. Woody, go ahead and pop off your link in the comments so everybody can follow. Okay. Copy. So that's just a couple of hooping bits. And what else do we want to do? We did a sock. Knits. I want to talk to you about knits. When you hoop a knit, whether it's a polo knit or a t-shirt knit, you know what a knit is. There are some people out there that do not know what a knit is. A knit is a piece of fabric that has stretch to it. This doesn't have a lot of stretch. We saw that sock earlier. It had a lot of stretch. Good job, Woody. Here's some t-shirt knit. It has a lot of stretch. We want to make sure that our knits are hooped securely. And we want to do that because the machine's presser foot is going to come down and bump that knit. It's going to push it. And that's called a snow plow. Those of us that live in the areas that have snow, and Frank says he's never used a single needle machine. They have their place, Frank. My single needle machine is a Viking, Husqvarna Viking Topaz 50. It does pretty much all the same bells and whistles, doesn't have like the positioning and stuff or a camera, but I'm very happy with it. And I do pull it out to work with on occasion. So again, going back to us winter climate people, we know that a snowplow pushes the snow ahead of us to move it out of the way. And I don't know if you could see that, but it left a big old bulk of fabric because it stretched as it was going. Okay, so there are those that don't hoop their knits. They float them. Floating is a technique, a hooping technique, where the stabilizer is in the hoop but the knit is smoothed over and lays on top of it. And they use a sticky stabilizer or spray adhesive to hold it in place. But still, it doesn't. It still has some snowplow. In fact, it's more susceptible to that. So what do? How do you make sure that that hoop, that knit isn't going to stretch in the hoop? And, it's very important to make sure that the knit doesn't stretch, because when it does, if you hoop your knit overly tight, all right, if I pull on this to make sure that it's tight in the hoop, I'm stretching and I'm pulling, and the stitching happens. When you release that fabric from the hoop, it's going to relax and it's going to come back. Whatever the stretch is, it's going to unstretch, it's going to relax and come back, which is going to cause your puckering. So how do you hoop and knit without stretching it, making sure it stays flat? I use a temporary spray adhesive. And a spray box. Yeah, I know. Its spray box is just an empty box that you keep handy to catch the overspray from your adhesive. All right, so I spray this. And I have a tendency to be a little heavy-handed. I have a tendency to be a little heavy-handed with the spray adhesive. So when I'm using sticky stabilizer or spray adhesive, I also like to use the ceramic coated needles. Ceramic coated needles have they don't stick, they don't gum up like your regular stainless steel needle. So once I have my stabilizer set, I'm going to put the sticky side to the fabric and smooth it in place. What I've done is every square inch of this knit is now secured to the stabilizer. It's not going to shift. So then I can put it in the hoop and it's not going to snowplow, because whatever is stuck down here is not going to move as I push forward. It is stuck all the way across. It's not going to shift, and it's not going to pull, and it's not going to, the machine isn't going to be able to shift it. So it's not going to be stretched to where it needs to relax, and that's where your puckers come from. Let's talk about the needles. In fact, let me just go back here. Frank said that he thought floating had no hoop at all. No wonder he could never figure it out. Oh, Frank. Oh, Frank. Yep. Frank, it does have a hoop. You do have to use a hoop, but you're floating your project over the hoop instead of in the hoop. Cindy's been has been sewing since she was 9. So is Gail. Ladies, I'm right there with you. My grandmother set me up to her sewing machine back 100 years ago. And the ceramic needles are actually kind of new. or at least they're new to us, the retail public. I was actually looking for Teflon for the same reason. Oh, was that Woody? Oh my gosh, you're right. Woody, sorry. Um, Woody, you have to use a hoop. You have to use a hoop. Your machine is dependent on that hoop. It doesn't know what to do without the hoop. I was looking for Teflon needles one time because, Teflon doesn't stick. You got it in the kitchen. At least some of us do. And I came across the ceramics. So I did a little looking, and sure enough, the ceramic has the same kind of properties. It does not stick. It does not get gummed up. The needle does not get gummed up with the sticky or the spray adhesive. So, if I'm going to use sticky or spray adhesive, and I don't very often, but I want to make sure that I'm not going to have any issues, so I use a ceramic needle. Yes, those are Oregon needles. I actually have a couple of different needle brands that I use. Oregons are really nice. I also use the what are they called? The German needle, the ones that come in the little green box. Woody, oh Woody, that's gotta be terrifying. Yeah, I tried holding the backpack in my hand. That idea quickly went out the window. Woody, you understand that the hoop moves on an X and Y axis that you probably couldn't match. Oh yes, Cindy, those are the needles. So what else would I use ceramics for? They're said to have a longer life, like the titanium coated needles. I still found the titaniums, which is why I went looking for other needles, gummed up some. So that's why I went looking for a Teflon needle, or in this case, I found a ceramic needle. What else? What else should we pull in here? I think we got it. Any other questions while I'm here? I know. Don't forget. Oh, the Frank, Cindy's E. It was a silent E. Okay. I don't use the sweatbands. Yes, sweatbands would be similar to the socks. Anything that would be really difficult to hoop. Use that sock technique. It works really well. It allows you to pull the band, the cuff away from the sewing area. You could use sticky stabilizer, but again, sometimes the sticky just doesn't come off as well. Depends on what brand you're using. I think that's about it, people. What do you think? Shall we oh, look. You guys never get to see her. Oh, she just left. That was Carly in the back. She's been sitting up in the window this whole time, and she just left. She's very bashful, very shy, very skittish. Okay, so you're very welcome, Frank. So with that, I'm going to go. Oh, that's right. Mention the AG. 1 o'clock Central Time. For those that are registered with Applique Getaway, I will be doing a live demo on more of this hooping. If you haven't registered, and I don't know that I can do this. Hold on. Applique Getaway. Do do do. Do 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 do. Copy. I'm not set up to do a screenshot for you, but there is a link. There is a link to the Applique Getaway. It's to register. It's $25. There are more than 25 classes, so we're talking less than $1 per class. And it gets you into not only the classes, but the goodie bags, and you get registered for prize giveaways. The attendees Facebook page allows you to participate and ask questions and be there for the demos. It's an awesome set of classes. I'm taking one class a day because, I like it. Thank you, Cindy. You're very welcome. And okay, I gotta go. You guys have a great day. You'll see me on the interweb. Oops, where am I? There we are.
Wasn't that fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quicktostitch.com for coffee and conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.